open wide and say ah. Ah. Hello everybody, and today we're going to be talking about something that's been plaguing Magic the Gathering, and arguably just about every other game in existence, since its conception. Or their conceptions, I should say, if we're talking plural. Today we'll be discussing cheating, and if you've been a Magic player for a very, very long time, or heck, any game for a very, very long time, it's likely you've encountered a lot of cheaters. The odd thing is that Magic has been a very popular game in terms of the competitive scene, and lately I feel like we've seen a lot of instances in which we've caught cheaters on camera. Frankly, I think this is just plain ridiculous, just because it's like pretty much committing a crime in front of a video camera, on purpose. Now, one scary thing to think about is if these are the instances in which we have caught players cheating on camera, imagine how many players cheat off of camera. I'm not going to go through like huge amounts of calculations because that requires like astronomical amounts of math, and I don't have time to do all that. But frankly, it's quite terrifying considering there are a lot of people who play Magic. Now, you might be wondering, if you're a Magic player, why should you be concerned about cheating? Well, if you are thinking about going into the competitive scene or are already in the competitive scene, it could really be, in a sense, used against you in a really awful way. You could basically have an opponent that could be cheating or not following the rules, and maybe you'll catch them later down the road, but later, in a sense, your opponent may make of some sort of reason as to how that board state or effect came to be, and you won't have any proof of it. This is absolutely painful for the game's integrity because nobody wants to play a game where people can just BS their way to, well, winning. And my god, if this isn't bad enough, I've actually had to deal with lots of cheaters in my career as a Magic the Gathering player. When I first started playing back in 2001, I would go to a game store in my hometown, and every week we would play what is now called Legacy, which back then was called Type 1.5 or 1.5. Every week there would be this guy who would play a Reanimator deck. Whenever I would face him in our tournament every Saturday, he would always get the exact same hand. And frankly, I had no idea how he did it. I could never figure out how he got to be so lucky. After a few months of playing there, it actually turned out that someone actually caught him, well, stacking his deck. And that really kind of explained a lot about how, well, he got all these great godlike hands. Now, to be fair, he wasn't the only cheater I've encountered in my career as a Magic player, but my goodness, ever since that day, ever since I found out that player was cheating, I just became so much more aware of, well, I guess you could say, my game state and the game surroundings. And honestly, the big way you do catch cheaters is just by, well, staying sharp. This brings us to some excellent ways as which you can, well, catch a cheater. I believe sanctioned rules state that you always do have to cut your opponent's deck or shuffle your opponent's deck. I would actually prefer to do shuffle because, let's just face it, no one wants to get a guaranteed god hand every turn or play against a guaranteed god hand every turn, so it's nice to take a few seconds, maybe take 20 to 30 seconds to bridge shuffle your opponent's deck. As I stated before, it's very important to pay attention when you are playing the game. Therefore, you'll be able to pick up your opponent's, like, whenever they do something extra that could benefit them. There was another incident recently where I caught a player putting extra loyalty on a Planeswalker that didn't need it. Like I say, keep your wits about you. That's the best way you can actually catch something like this. Now, the best rule to think about this, or the best way to catch a cheater, and oddly enough, this is actually true for a lot of things in life, and it's honestly, if you feel like you are being cheated. And I know that might seem weird because you can't just accuse someone of cheating if you have no proof. If your opponent is acting funny, or, I don't know, maybe looking at their deck while they shuffle, or maybe, like, I don't know, mixes their cards up weird, contact your judge. Let your judge, you don't have to talk to your judge in front of your opponent. Just make sure that your judge is aware, and maybe they can supervise your game, or have them watch the game for a few minutes or two. But if you don't feel like you're in a fair environment, or you feel like something suspicious is going on in your game, let your judge know. Now, there are going to be some players, and I really, really dislike this move, and I'm sure there may be some people watching this who are doing this right away, but there will be people who will just, even if it's not even if it's not cheating, like legally or quoted as defined as cheating, they will go on to accuse their opponent of cheating, and this is really, really obnoxious. I have been on the end of this. I've seen other players be at the end of this, and it's just a real pain in the ass. To best handle this, I feel like the best scenario is just to have proof. Record your games if you can. It really, really makes a difference. I know a lot of people do it, and even like sanctioned events and Pro Tours and GPs always have a feature match area where they're always filming, so there will be proof there. My only question is, why on earth didn't they punish these players when blatantly there is an act of cheating right in front of the camera? Hey, Jeffrey Dahmer just killed somebody. Let's let him back out into the open world. He'll never kill anybody again. Okay, so maybe this scenario isn't as bad as someone getting killed, but seriously, for Magic, it's pretty darn awful because, like I say, it makes people not really want to play our game or want to play with you in general. And frankly, if you intend to blatantly cheat or your goal is to cheat just to make money at a Magic tournament, I'm sorry, but that's just flippin' pitiful. Seriously, these are some great ways to make you aware of your surroundings as a Magic player and make sure that you are playing a nice, fair game of Magic and, well, not getting cheated. Hopefully this video has been of some help to you, and hopefully this video will give you some insight as how you can be on your toes when you anticipate that you are playing against a cheater. If you ever played against a cheater at your Magic the Gathering event, feel free to let me know about it in the comment section below, and while you're at it, you may also want to put other tips and tricks on how you can catch cheaters as well in the section.